let's talk about financing. One thing nice about Butler Marine is we're a one-stop shop, which basically means we can sell you the boat, we can help you get the boat financed, we can service the boat, we can repair the boat, whether that's a mechanical repair or a fiberglass or gel coat repair. So financing can be very complicated. We're here to take the way I would put it is we're going to take some of the, we're going to show you the man behind the curtain and what actually happens with your finance application as it goes through the process. So the advantages of financing with us as opposed to going to your bank are, number one, within the country of all the banks, there may be only about 50 banks in the country that actually finance boats, and some of those banks only finance locally. Other banks finance nationally. We have a list of about 10 different lenders that we use. The ironic thing about that is, with those 10 lenders, I could have the same deal, boat sale price, down payment, everything, with 5 different customers, and the best rate will be at 5 different banks based on that customer's credit history and down payments and different things. So what we want to make sure that we do is we understand how we can get you the best possible rate, because that's what everybody wants. And that can vary based on down payment, the term, and sometimes you may put down more down payment, but the rate is actually higher if you put down too much money, and we want to step you through that. Now, you heard what I just said. If you put down more money, the rate would go up. I did not make a mistake. Boat financing can be a little different than what your normal financing is. They'll have different tiers that are based on the price of the boat and then how much you're borrowing. And within those tiers, what you don't want to do is go over, because if all of a sudden maybe you should have put down enough money to just get to $50,000 finance, but you went to $49,000 finance, the $49,000 finance amount now has a higher rate than the $50,000 financed amount. And nobody wants that. Let's keep the $1,000 back in your pocket and let's get you a lower rate. The other thing that we do is all of our lenders are simple interest loans. So what does that mean? A simple interest loan means that if you pay more than the standard payment, say your payment is $500 and you decide to pay $600 per month, that extra $100 goes directly towards principal. What does that mean for you? What that means for you is over the life of your loan, you will pay less interest. And that's always a good thing. It saves you money, puts more money in your pocket, which is where it needs to be. The other part that we want to talk about is which way to go with regards to term and payment. We want you to be comfortable with your payment, but always remember this, it's a simple interest loan. So if we say you feel good at a 10-year payment term, but we can give you a 12-year payment term, and the rate is the same, why not take the 12 years? And the reason why I say that is not all of us know what's going to happen in the future. So if you make the 10-year payment on the 12-year note, you will have it paid off in 10 years. But if something happens along the lines where all of a sudden you get a little bit short on money, you can always drop back to the 12-year payment. The other thing for us is your bank open on a weekend? Is your loan officer there? Most of the time they're not. Guess what? We're open on the weekends. We do all the paperwork here to make it convenient for you. We take you through and step you through that. The same thing goes with the contract. We print them all out. You get copies right when you leave. So you have the ability to close your loan with us at time of delivery 7 days a week. As with a bank, you're going to be put down to the 5 days. Oh, by the way, the bank closes at 5 o'clock and most people get off at 5 o'clock. So are they going to stay open for just you? For us, we'll stay here whatever time we need to be to meet with you and go through those loan documents and any questions you may have on the loan. Now, let's talk about the steps that happen on financing. The first thing we've already done is we've gone over, we've agreed on the boat, we've agreed on the price, you're happy with everything, we've agreed on what the payments are. So now what actually happens? The first thing that we do is we fill out a customer statement, which we're going to talk about at the end and show you how to fill that out properly. The next thing that happens is we take your finance application and we run a credit bureau. And today everybody's pretty familiar with credit bureaus. We're going to look at that credit bureau, and believe it or not, there's 3 different bureaus out there, and all of our lenders use different credit bureaus. So we're going to see which one you score the best at. And based on that, which lender is going to be the best lender to go to with your type of loan for the term and the down payment. And we're going to determine that, and then once we've done that, we're going to submit your application. And all this is done encrypted online. We're going to submit that application, and we're going to wait for a communication back, either with a question, a decline, or an approval. Typically, with our experience, we're going to know if there's an issue on a decline, and we're going to let you know about that and help you through that process and how maybe we can get that changed to change one from a decline to an acceptance. But once we get that approval in, and it's what we expected, then we're going to go over that approval with you, step you through it, give you the exact payment that you're going to have, and then from there we can set up a closing time with you. At the same time, most people forget about is you're also going to need insurance. We have various insurance companies that we deal with that we can help you set that insurance up. And insurance is like anything else. It's not a one-size-fits-all. If you're a little 17-foot boat and you're running around here, you need a different type of insurance than the guy that buys a 35-footer that's going to be running 60 miles offshore and may take it to the Bahamas. And you want to make sure that you have the proper insurance coverage for both boats. We're going to then schedule a delivery date for you. At that time, usually we do all the paperwork at that time. Sometimes we'll do the paperwork one day, and then the next day we want to do the delivery date. And then we're going to take you out on the water and show you how to use your boat and take you through all the systems. And that's basically our delivery process. And once again, you haven't had to go anywhere but come right here to Butler Marine. Next, we're going to talk about how to fill out a credit application properly. Okay, now that we're at the point where we need to fill out a credit application, once again, Butler Marine tries to make it nice and convenient for you and easy. So if you go to the Butler Marine website, which is butlermarineinc.com, you can look at the blue line bar and you'll see across that it says Specials and Finance. Just put your cursor over top of that, it'll see a spot where it says Finance Application, and all you do is click on that Finance Application and it will automatically bring up the application that you need to fill out. What we're going to try to do is take you step by step so you fill out the information you need to and not the information you don't need to. First of all, you're obviously going to have to use your full name, your address. They're going to ask you the number of years you're at the current residence. And if it's over 3 years, mark over 3 years. If it's under 3 years, just be prepared that you may be asked what the previous address was. So have that information ready. You're not going to have to fill it out on the application that's online, but the salesman may need that. They're going to ask for obviously phone number, email address. Your driver's license is very important. And even if you're buying from one state, but you have a driver's license in another state, that's still okay. Use the, that's not a problem. Obviously, Social Security number, they're going to want your birth date and the marital status. Now, one part that's very important is it'll ask you whether you want to do it individually or joint application. Even though you're doing a joint application, we would prefer that you fill it out each individually. That makes it easier for us going down the road because we don't know who to put on top and who to put on bottom, and it allows us to have the most flexibility to get you the lowest rate. So once you fill out that, all you're going to do is hit next, and that's going to bring up the next piece of information that the bank is going to be looking for, and that's going to be employment information. So if you are self-employed, you're going to mark yes. If you're not, you want to put no. If you're not sure, and even if you think you're self-employed, talk to a salesman first before you mark that as a yes, because what you consider self-employed and what the bank considers self-employed may be very different, and we want to walk you through that. On your gross monthly income, that means pre-taxes. So what is it that you get paid? And remember, don't try to divide things by 4 if you get paid by the month, because really what ends up happening if we're putting in the gross monthly income, there's some months where you're going to have 5 weeks, so you want to take your total income. Say if you get paid hourly, you want to be the total amount that you get paid per hour before taxes. We want to multiply that out times 40. We want to multiply it by 52 and then divide it by 12 to maximize what your gross monthly income is. Your employer name you're going to put in your occupation. Obviously employer phone number, there's not a whole lot of information that we need to, everybody can fill that out and have the address, and then it's going to ask you for how long you've been employed there, and it's just over 3 years or under. Just mark that. Once again, if you're under 3 years, we may need additional information for where you worked before. Then for the banking information, they're going to ask, hey, how much cash down are you putting? That you can put a number in there on what you believe. We may not end up using that. It's not the end-all be-all. We'll end up deciding once we talk to you about it to determine what is the best amount to put down to get you the best rate, and based on keeping money in your pocket at the same time. It's going to ask you if you have a checking account. You want to mark that yes or no. Do you have a savings account? Yes or no. The savings account thing, whether you have one or don't have one, it's not a big deal. If you have some type of investment account, you may want to put that in there as a savings account. But once again, it's not a huge thing. They will ask you, do you have additional sources of income? And whether that income is rental income or maybe you get child support, anything like that, you want to mark that as yes and put the type of additional income that you get there, along with the gross amount that you get. And once again, that can get very tedious and complicated based on the different sources. Before you fill it out, or as you're filling it out, talk to our sales guy. He can walk you through that without a problem and get you to answer the questions correctly and honestly, so we don't have a problem with your application. The other thing they'll ask you for residential status, which is really going to be whether do you own, rent, are you military, or are you other? Like other would be, do you live at home? That type of thing. And that's where you're going to fill that out. And then, if you have a mortgage, obviously you're going to put regions, if there is, or put the bank that you use. If you don't have, it's still going to be starred. So even if you own it outright, just type in that none will work fine. And for your monthly mortgage payment, you just put 0. And other total monthly loan payments, this is very important. Put 0 there. And the reason why I say that is, we're not being dishonest with the bank. The bank is going to look at your credit bureau, and the credit bureau is going to list all those items already. There's no reason for you to do that. They're going to go off whatever that credit bureau says. So there's no reason to put any number in there. Just put 0 and then answer the following questions, which is, are you currently subject to a bankruptcy proceeding? Have you ever had a vehicle repossessed? Do you have any judgments or liens against you? The judgments or liens against you, and you mark it no, and they find something, they're not going to look at it as like you tried to defraud them. You may not know about something because it's actually not yours. So that's not uncommon for us to see something that's different than what you picked. It's not going to hurt you with the bank. Then for your references, you want to put through that reference, including as much information as you can get. If at the time maybe you don't have your sister's address or your father's or mother's, whoever you're using, just put down something, just the street that they live on. You may not know the exact, that's okay if you don't know the exact house number. Put in their city, state, and that type of thing, and put in a postal code. And that's all you'll need. And then once you hit that submit button, that will then come to us electronically, and we will get to work on it. It's always a good idea once you hit the submit button to let your salesman know that you've gone ahead and submitted it, so he's looking out for it. And please remember, if you have any questions as you're filling out the application, we're just a phone call away. Call your sales professional, ask the question, and we'll give you the answer so that you don't have to go back and repeat the work that you've already done.